All right, so we are going to check the calibration for our spectrometer. What you need to do is take plain distilled water, and we're just going to put 1 drop onto our prism screen and check. Let's see, I need a smaller drop. We're checking to make sure that this reads 1.000, and if it does not, we will take the tool that came with this to tighten one of the screws in here. And it actually looks like ours is the light to dark line is right on 1.000. So that means this is calibrated correctly, but if it were not reading correctly, what we'll do is unscrew or take out this cap, and there's just this little screw here and a tool, and this is what you would use to adjust until the dark line light that you look at is reading in the correct value. Just make sure to wipe it off really well when you're done, and just put everything back up. And okay, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do a blood pull today. I'm going to go ahead and shave her leg. I'm going to go ahead and shave both of them because we're going to have the other leg for a catheter. It's okay. You sniff. You sniff. Sleepy. Other leg. It's okay, you're just doing the same thing. It's okay, Gracie. It's okay. Breathe. There you go. Okay. Good. Just a quick haircut. Okay, breathe. A little uncooperative. Ready? Go ahead. So I'm just going to use this leg. Okay. Got this leg a little better. So it's easy. I'm just using chlorhexidine scrub and alcohol. Using a 1 ml syringe with a 25 gauge needle. Lauren's gonna occlude the vein for me. And she'll finish to make sure that she doesn't bleed. I'm gonna go ahead and get my blood in the tubes that we're gonna use for her procedure, and that is it. Go. Okay, I'm gonna show you guys how to do a blood film today. We've got our blood, has EDTA in it, so it's not gonna clot. A little pipette to be able to drop the blood on here, and I'm gonna show you how to do it, or walk you through it, and then do it since it's a bit of a fast process. We're gonna take a drop of the blood and put it towards the frosted end of the microscope slide. And then we're going to take another slide, place it in front of the drop, push back until the drop fully covers the edge of this microscope slide, and then use even pressure and just push back this way, and you're wanting to get a nice blood smear with a feathered edge. Go ahead and get our blood. Just trying to make sure there's no air bubbles in there. Drop of blood. I'm just going to go forward, pull back. I'm going to do a few more just to make sure we get a good one. like this one's the best one that has a feathered edge, so I'm just gonna let this air dry for a little bit, and then once it's dry, we'll go ahead and stain them. Okay, now that our blood smear is dry, it's air dried, we're gonna go ahead and stain it. We have our Diff Quick stain. The first one is gonna be the fixative. We're gonna sit it in here for 60 seconds. The second one, is going to stain anything that is basic, and then the third one is gonna stain anything that is acidic in the blood, and these two are both gonna sit for 30 seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and get my timer ready for 60 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and set this in here. And we're just gonna hold it in here for 60 seconds. Grab my distilled water so once it's done I can rinse it off. Alrighty, now that it's been the 60 seconds and the first one, I'm just going to come over here to the sink and rinse it off really well with distilled water. And then I'm going to come over here, just get the extra water off. I'm going to stick it in the second one. And we're going to do this one for 30 seconds. Alrighty, 30 seconds in our second. Rinse off with distilled water. Alrighty, and then 30 seconds in our last one. And then after this is done sitting for the last 30 seconds in the third Diff Quick, I'm going to go ahead and rinse off again with distilled water, and then once it's done completely air drying, that's when we'll go ahead and look at it underneath the microscope. Alright, timer's off, so I'm going to rinse it and we'll be right back once it's dry.
Go.
Okay, so our blood film is now stained and completely dry, so we're going to go ahead and read him under the microscope. We've got 3 different layers here. It's our body, our monolayer, and then that feathered edge. When we're looking at it underneath the microscope, we're going to be looking on the monolayer. The feathered edge, the cells are going to be a little bit thinned out, some of them probably broken. And then the body, they're all going to be piled on top of each other and really thick, so it's a bit hard to read the cells there. So we're looking at the monolayer. First, we're going to scan the whole microscope under 10x, or sorry, the whole slide. Under 10x, and what we're going to be looking for is any abnormal cells, any platelet clumps, anything like that. We'll just go through the whole entire field, just logging anything that we see that's abnormal, any platelet clumps, like I said, anything like that. And then once you're done reviewing the whole slide for anything abnormal, we're going to go onto the monolayer and start looking at the, sorry, I'm pulling up our white blood cell calculator. We're going to start looking for our different white blood cells. We're going to count all 4 of them, sorry, all 6 of them, sorry. And we're going to count up to 100 so that we will be able to do a percentage. We're going to go down or up to the 100 oil film. I'm going to put 1 drop of immersion oil on. So I've got my immersion oil over that monolayer. And now we're just going to go ahead and slide over to the 100 times immersion. We don't have the manual counter here, so like I said, I have got a just one on my phone. We'll just sit here, and as I see the different cells, I'm going to go ahead and mark what I see, and we're just going to make sure to do one field at a time and just really look for everything. And then I will go ahead and finish reviewing this. I will count to, like I said, 100 cells. We'll cut it, and I'll come back and show you how to do the calculations.
Go.
Okay, so I am done with my count. We counted 100 cells. I have everything all labeled here. And then for our calculation, you will do the total white blood cell. You can get that from a CBC machine, or if you don't have one, it should be on your reference laboratory when you get your blood work back. But let's just say that this one was 6,000. So we're gonna get our calculator out, we're gonna do 6,000, and then since everything was in a percent, we counted 20 basophils, but for that to be a percent, we'll do times 0.2, which would give us 1,200. So that means the total count for our basophils for this would be 1,200. Right, so today we're going to be doing a PCB-TP. It's a packed cell volume, and TP, also called TS, is total protein or total solids. What we're going to need is microhematocrit tubes, our blood. It needs to be anticoagulated. This one has EDTA in it. I have stopped to plug the hematocrit tubes, and then our spectrometer to be able to check the total proteins. So what we'll do is fill our tubes, and then just put it in the putty. And you gotta do 2 to be able to keep your centrifuge balanced when you spin them. And then just recap it. There we go. And so that's how we'll fill them. I'm gonna go ahead and pause the video really quick and wait for our centrifuge to finish spinning what it is, and then I'll start the video again showing how to put them in the centrifuge. Okay, so my centrifuge is done doing what I was doing before, so we're gonna go ahead and put these in. We need to make sure that the putty in the end of them that we used has to go on the outside, and then make sure you balance your centrifuge so they need to be across from each other. Ours has this little lid to go on. And just line it up, close that, and we keep it on the highest setting. It is 5,400 RPMs, and we spin it for 2 minutes. Our timer doesn't always work, so we just have manual timers to go ahead and keep track of the time. Again, I'll pause the video while this spins for 2 minutes, then come back and show you how to read it. It went off. It worked this time, so it shut itself off. You just have to sit here and wait for it to spin down on its own. So I'll go ahead and just get everything else ready that we're going to need. Like I said, our spectrometer, and then our chart to read the hematocrit tubes. I guess I'm honestly gonna go ahead and use these ones. They were spun down earlier. So we have the end of the putty here. Here's all our red blood cells. You can see right in the middle there is a little buffy coat, and that's the serum. How we'll read it on this chart is we line the end of the blood right there, and we'll roll it down until our serum hits the top, and then we'll read where these meet. So it looks like her PCV is going to be about, he got 56. We'll log that for that PCV. Just write it down so we don't forget. And then to be able to do the total solids or the total protein, you'll just break where the serum is. And then you want to be careful not to scratch the screen of this, and make sure to use not the end that you broke, but the flat end. Just dab a little bit of the serum on and hold it up to a light. And what you're reading is where the blue line meets, and it looks like hers is 7.2. So go ahead and log that, and we will go ahead and get them in our computer system.